The smartphone market has changed a lot in the past 20 years. It's particularly fascinating to see how much it changed, particularly around the introduction of the iPhone in 2007, and how much that altered the trajectory of what a smartphone could be. Apple co-founder Steve Jobs announced the iPhone in January 2007 in a presentation that many of us have seen. This phone was quite different from the previous generation of smartphones because it did not have a keyboard. Instead, it had a full-length screen in which the keyboard would appear when needed. A year later, Steve Jobs unveiled the iPhone 3G. This was the first model that was actually available in Australia, and it took the phone to a new level, offering numerous different services, but most notably, the App Store. BlackBerry was under pressure to perform. They had to come up with some sort of response to it, what they would perhaps call the iPhone killer. At the time, they offered the BlackBerry Bold 9000. So this was their premium model. It's a beautiful phone, beautiful silver highlights, black leather, camera, all the same basic operating system that the previous generations had had. It was a great phone. This one actually is the one I owned at the time. I bought it in January of 2010 and used it through until December of 2011. It was a great phone in and of its era. The only downside is that I bought it for work and I couldn't get my work email system on it because my company had ceased to support it at that point. But otherwise, really, really nice phone. Great standard BlackBerry. The keyboard was nice, a little small comparative to what else was on the market by that point, but it was very nice. So this is the BlackBerry Storm. So this is the very first model, which was released in 2008. I bought it online recently, not terribly expensive. There's not a lot of market for them, mainly because of their famous deficiencies. But let's have a look at what it's actually like to use. So what makes it stand out comparative to other phones, such as the iPhone, is that the screen itself is an actual button. So you press it down. It's an actual tactile button. Famously, Mike Lazaridis, who was the BlackBerry co-founder, didn't like typing on glass. He didn't like the sensation of it, and he decided that he would like to make a phone which would still feel like you were typing on the famous BlackBerry keyboard, like that. So, trying out the BlackBerry Storm in the present day is a little weird because, of course, it ends up being a bit of a cul-de-sac in phone development. But let's give it a try. So, like other BlackBerries, there is the unlock button at the top. So we hit that, and it opens up. So this is the home screen, and you can use the screen just to tap things. But of course, this doesn't actually open the app. You've got to actually press the screen like that. So this model, it's a standard candy bar size formation. It's interesting. It's quite heavy, comparable to the iPhone of that era. This one feels a lot less sturdy. The iPhone, it hasn't got a removable battery. This one does. As you can see, standard BlackBerry back, 3.2 megapixel camera, autofocus with flash. All of the sort of standard BlackBerry features, except, of course, the screen. So why, do you ask, would I purchase a phone that famously is not very good in the year 2025? I've always been fascinated about why the BlackBerry Storm didn't work, and getting to actually use it for the first time is an interesting experience. At the time in Australia, it was sold by Vodafone, which was not the company that, the telecom provider, I should say, that I actually had my contract with at the time. So I'd never used one before. In fact, I'd never even really seen it in shops. So here, you just simply click on the screen like so, and you go to type a message. And you have to press the button, not just hold it down, but press it like that. It retains the 4 buttons that were standard on the BlackBerry at the time: call, hang up, return, and the BlackBerry button. So you hit that, and it activates the menu. The touchscreen moves up and down. It's not particularly responsive, which was one of the major criticisms of it at the time. So the reason for that is because there's sensors underneath the screen. They weren't very good on the corners. The main sensor is in the middle, so it's far more responsive there than the rest of the phone. So that was comparable to the iPhone at the time. It's got a bit of lag. It's not very responsive. So that's it's interesting. So let's try out BlackBerry's most famous feature, its email. So as you can see, relatively similar to the way that the BlackBerry's previous email had worked, but again with a touchscreen. As you can see, it doesn't depict a full QWERTY keyboard. Each button has two letters for the most part. However, if you want to use it with the full keyboard, what you do is you turn and type like this. So I'll type out a message and you can see what it looks like. It has, due to the screen, a clicking sound when you type. So let's try this. So just a simple hello, how are you in the subject line, and then in the main body of the email, we'll just try the same thing again. Oh, bit of a typo. It's much easier to type in this fashion than it is in the more standard fashion. But yeah, it's an interesting experience. Having these three models of phone together, all of which came out within the same 2-year period, it's fascinating to see what direction phones could have gone in. There was the previous generation with the built-in keyboard, which had been very popular. There's the idea of the tactile screen, which you actually have to physically press. And then there is the design of the iPhone, which of course proved to be the direction in which things went with just the touch of glass.